Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another tier list slash tier maker video. Jester Ranks Off if you're feeling fancy. This week we're looking at Hisuian forms. As timely as ever, Pokemon Legends Arceus came out in January. It's now May, so I thought, what better time to start looking at Hisuian Pokemon forms than right now. 4 months after release. I know, it's been on the list for ages. I have a whole list in this book of like tier list videos I want to do, and I just haven't got round to it because of like COVID and stuff like that. It's been it's been a tough couple of weeks, so I'm planning on getting a lot done. Haven't got it done. Anyway, this is looking at both the Hisuian forms and Hisuian evolutions of the Pokemon that came out in Pokemon Legends Arceus. We're going to judge them. It's probably going to change. It's going to change every time I look at one. It's going to be like, oh, I'm judging this based on this. The idea is it an improvement, or does it look cool compared to what we already have? So if we've got something that looks cool already and it looks worse, it's going in the D. If we've got something that looks crap, it looks brilliant now, it's going in the S. If we've got something that looks cool and it still looks cool, but in a different way, it could go anywhere, who knows. We're going to go based on design, etc, etc. We're going to have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started on Hisuian Typhlosion. You've all met me before, and if you haven't, hello, I'm Jester. I am not a big fan of people who attribute things immediately to stupid things on the internet. Hisuian Typhlosion is one of those, because immediately everyone was like, oh my god, it's Typhlosion, but he's high. That's so cool. They ruined Sprigatito in the same way. It's like, oh, it's the grass Pokemon. It's literally got a weed leaf on it. It's no, stop ruining things by making them a part of a thing that is already terrible. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're one of those people that interacts with that side of the world, I've got no problem with that. You crack on. It's the people who make it their entire personality, and that's what these people do. They go, this is exactly like this thing, and it's like, no, it's not. You need to stop now. Anyway, the new Typhlosion design, not a big fan. It's not terrible. It's not offensive. It's kind of cool, actually. Like, I don't hate it. But because the internet ruins everything, I'm going to put it in C tier. Samurot's a weird one because I already wasn't a huge fan of Samurot's design until relatively recently. The new Samurott is kind of like, oh, I'm now a cool, edgy Samurott. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I see the appeal. You're a bit more spiky. You're a bit darker. The typing on the Pokemon is a bit unfortunate because we already have Water Dark, Supremacy, and Greninja. But yeah, overall, I think it's a better design than Typhlosion. It doesn't do a whole lot more than the original Samurott, but it adds a little bit of a dark edge to it, so I'm going to pop it in B tier. Now, this is going to be potentially a shocking one for a lot of people. If you know me, I'm a big fan of Decidueye. Love Decidueye. Huge advocate for Decidueye. Probably the best final evolution of any starter. Probably the best starter in Rowlet now. So when I found out Rowlet was going to be in this game, I was hyped. I was like, yes, my boy, they've put him in the new game. I'm so excited. And then everyone was like, oh yeah, the starters are getting Hisuian forms. I was like, okay, I'm sure that's going to look fine. I'm sure that's going to look cool. Hisuian Decidueye, I just not a big fan of this style. I like its new signature move. The triple arrows attack is very, very cool. I'm a big fan of that one. But the design itself, I'm just not a big fan of the whole, like, samurai aesthetic. I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, and one of the melee class I mainly play is samurai. I almost actively avoid, like, the job-specific armor because I just don't enjoy the style of clothing. It's not the most offensive-looking Pokemon on this list. I'm just scanning to make sure that's the case. But it's not brilliant either. I think its new signature move saves it. So it saves it from D tier, I should say. So I'm going to put it in C tier for that reason. Hisuian Growlithe. Growlithe, already a cool Pokemon. The puppy Pokemon. Big fan of the puppy Pokemon. He's now got a beard bib thing going on. He's got the shaggy, like, English sheepdog look of a face. Very cool aesthetic. I really enjoy it. I've not got too much to say about it other than that. I'm going to throw it up to A tier. Pretty damn cool. His big brother, Hisuian Arcanine. I enjoy the look, I think. I'm not sure. There's something about it that upsets me for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if it's just because it goes from, like, white to, like, a sooty grey. on the whole like color scheme. Original Growlithe to Arcanine didn't do that, did it? It was red and white to red and white. I find like contrasting colors like that a little bit jarring sometimes. There's gonna be another Pokemon going further up that's like a little bit similar to that as well. Actually, I'm just scanning now as a couple actually. Growlithe, I don't think Growlithe is an 80. I don't think Arcanine is quite as good as the new Growlithe. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe it's the flare shoulders. I'm not sure. Something about it just isn't as good to me as the Hisuian Growlithe. So I'm going to pop Arcanine into B tier. I'm basically going to say pretty much the same thing about both of these Pokemon because one is the other one flipped around. I love the design of Voltorb. When they said Hisuian Voltorb, I was like, interesting. How are they going to do that? I know the Pokeballs are now wooden. They made it a wooden Pokemon. It's electric grass, which is a very interesting typing. I love his huge eyebrows. I love his no mouth, but I love his expressionful face. Hisuian Voltorb is an absolute, pardon the pun, baller. I'm going to give him A tier straight away. Hisuian Electrode, again, there's something about it I'm just not sure about. I don't know whether it's because the eyes are now looking like they're like carved into the wooden Pokeball. Because if you look at the Hisuian Voltorb, it's clearly like the white eyes, and that's fine. But for some reason the Electrode doesn't have the white eyes. It's got carved eyes and the black dots for the people. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's as good looking as the Voltorb. It's a weirdly not as interesting design to me. And I think it's suffering a similar kind of problem, I guess. Like the new base version of this Pokemon, Voltorb Growlithe, cool looking, love the idea, it's great. But then they kind of lose the thread a little bit with the next evolution, so I'm going to pop that into B tier. Next up is Hisuian Quillfish, and again, it's a bit of an interesting one. I love the combination of black and pink. That is a very cool combination. Not the music person, not really a fan of that black-pink, but black-pink on the Quillfish, and by extension Overquill is pretty cool. The problem for me is the weird pink lips going on. I'm not a big fan of that. It's a bit strange. Not really sure what they're going for there. I'm going to pop that into B tier. Overquill, I feel like it had the potential to be like a really cool Pokemon. The bulk of the design, I quite enjoy. Like, you know, ball, huge spikes. Stay away from me, I'll kick your face. Why did they give it the face from the characters from the Little Bits commercial from Rick and Morty? I don't understand why it has such a small little face on such a huge ball of whatever. It's just kind of, again, somehow they go from the original version, or the base version, to a worse looking evolution. I'm not sure how they're achieving it, but they are. Overquill's into C. Hisuian Sneasel is an interesting one. It doesn't look too different from the original Sneasel to me. The colour scheme's interesting. I don't hate it. It's like, you know, a dirty grey white to like a purple. It's a big move. It doesn't do too much for me. I'm not a big fan of Sneasel's original design as it was, but it's fine for a B tier. And then the evolution looks like an Enderman with an albino pigment issue. Like, what is going on with that? And again, the colour scheme doesn't match. Like, you got grey, whitey, purple over here. It's like a blue-grey almost with purple. It just looks like a tall, like, awkward nerd. It's like the kind of person that, like, if you got caught in the wind, would fall over. It's an unfortunate look. I'm going to have to pop... Is it Sneasel? I'm going to have to pop Sneasel into C tier, I think. It's not a great look, really. Next up is Ursaluna. Ursaluna is a huge F-off bear who looks very cool. Just bulky bear, ready to destroy everything, but he's too gentle because he's moon-touched. I really like the design on Ursaluna. I think it's an interesting evolution from Ursa Ring. And it's weird as well, because, again, you can follow the thread from, like, Teddy Ursa to Ursa Ring, but then once you get to Ursaluna, it doesn't really follow the scheme for me. I think the problem for me is, like, there's no colour matching, if that makes sense. You've got, like, an orangey brown, really, with Ursaluna, with Ursa Ring and Teddy Ursa, whereas this just goes dark brown with, like, a dark browny grey fur over it. But the look is cool. I quite like it. It just doesn't match the evolution line. So I'm going to pop that into B tier. It's fine. I don't love it. Don't hate it, really. but I like it, you know? It's fine. Widea is the evolution of a Stantler. I do enjoy the fact that this game was like, and I hope Gen 9 does this, where they kind of like, anything that doesn't already have an evolution, they've done it, you know, previous generations, give it a new form and make it look cool. Regional forms and regional evolutions, I think, are a lot cooler than just like broad-ass new Pokemon at this stage. Because they're getting close to 1,000 with the number of Pokemon. And the designs are starting to get incredibly questionable for me. But Widea is a good one. It doesn't really lose the Stantler aesthetic. It looks like it becomes an elder version. It gains a beard, which is pretty big. Normal psychic typing, which is an interesting one. I think it's an A. I think it's an A. I quite like it. Ludigant's an interesting one. Typing is a bit weird. We're starting to get a lot of grass fighting Pokemon now, which is weird. Fighting seems to be like the main thing that gets paired with like anything else at this stage, which is a bit odd, but yeah, whatever. The aesthetic's pretty cool. It has a dance aesthetic now. I like it. I don't really think much of the original Lilligant design. It's not upsetting, it's not offensive. I think it's just cool. I think it's just there to vibe. I'm gonna give it A tier. Yeah, I quite like Lilligant. Basculin doesn't look too different from the original version, I believe. It's got like now more of an open mouth. It's more shocked to find out that people exist, which is a bit weird, but it's cool. I like it. It's a good aesthetic. Anything that looks a bit like a piranha, I'm totally down with. It's gonna move white stripe instead of red or blue. Yeah, it's probably a B. It's fine. It's, you know, comparable to the original. It's a Volform, Basculegion, I believe. I'm going to say something real quick. There's a red and a white version here, and I'm not sure what the difference is, so give me 2 seconds. Right, it's a male or female thing, which is weird. I'm going to compare them together. I keep saying it, the whole like evolution thing, going from blah 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 to colour schemes and blah blah. The female version is the white one, and you got white stripe, Hisuian version, that evolves into both a white striped version for female and then a red striped version for male. It's a bit weird. I don't know why that is. So I'm going to say this much. I like the Basculegion design. It's a cool one. It looks like a bit of a torpedo. It's not hugely impressive by any means, shape or form. Because it keeps the colour scheme correct. White stripe is going in B. Red stripe is going in C. I don't understand why they did it that way, if I'm honest. Like, for me, if you can do a male or female equivalent of, and one of them is going to match the original version, or the base Pokemon, why not invert the colours? Why not go white big stripe on top and then black accents? That makes more sense to me. You've let yourself down on that one, Basculegion. Not sure what you're doing there. Zora. I don't know how I feel. White and red is an interesting colour combination. That's fine. It's normal ghost type, I think, which is, again, weird combination, but fine. The original version, I think, again, this fits me as a dark, edgy human being. The original version, obviously, dark type and very cool. Black and red. I quite like it. I feel Zoro in a way, because it looks quite sad. It looks sad that it died in the past. I'm not sure how that works. But it's an interesting little aesthetic. I quite like it. I think I'm going to pop it into A tier. Zarok, meanwhile, I don't understand the big flowy before that it's now got going on. If I remember right, original Zarok's got like a cool spike aesthetic going on. I really like it. It's a quite cool one. The Zarok looks like it's got too much weight on its head, and it's just constantly ready to just like fall over at some point. In an almost sad way. I don't know how I feel about it truly. It's going to be another like, this Pokemon gets, base Pokemon gets like this rank, so the one below gets the evolution. It's a weird one, and I hate to keep doing it this way, but that's honestly how I feel about the about Hisuian Zarok. Hisuian Bravery. Again, Bravery, one of my favourite flying type Pokemon. I think between Bravery and Talonflame, they're my two favourite birds that you get. You know every Pokemon game has like its bird. You got your Pidgey, you got your Swellows and blah blah. Bravery was Generation 5's, I believe. quite a cool looking Pokemon. It was based off a bald eagle, if I remember right. Very America, F yeah. I don't really enjoy what they've done with this version. I kind of liked the idea of it going psychic flying. That was quite cool. But the big weird like buffon that's got going on, not sure how I feel about that. The hypnotic like psychic eyes are kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not a big fan compared to the original. If we're going back to that old thing, it's not really that great. So I'm popping that into C tier. Have a look at that. This is a cool one. It becomes Ice Rock, and it doesn't really change in aesthetic too much. But instead of being like how it is now, is obviously interesting in the fact that it's got rock legs and like these extra spiky bits going on. It's a fine design. I'm not a big fan of original Avalugg. It's fine. It's, you know, supposed to be a cliff, I guess, or something like that. The new version, for some reason, I find slightly cooler, despite the fact that it loses some ice on its body. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine. It's a B tier for me. Next up is Sligoo, and I really enjoyed what they did with the Gumi line here. They, for some reason, turned it into a snail dragon, which is a weirdly specific aesthetic that we've never touched on before. I'm just trying to think back. I think the only snail Pokemon we got is like Slugma, obviously Slug, and Magcargo. I can't think of too many other snail Pokemon. I'm a big fan of snails. I quite enjoy them. Sligoo? I would say Sligoo. Sligoo is a very cool looking Pokemon. It's like head sticking out of a shell, dragging itself along. It's fine. It's a B tier. Gudra, on the other hand. Gudra has huge, awesome... First of all, it's Steel Dragon type, which is just weird. Why did they make the snail Steel type? Oh, it's the S, isn't it? Snail, Steel. That makes sense. But, like, it's a huge snail dragon. It's just, everything about the snail aesthetic is so cool to me, and I really enjoy it for some reason. I can't truly explain why I do so much, but Gudra might be the only S tier as of right now for me of these Hisuian forms. It's so good. I love it. It's really, really good. Origin form Dialga is a weird looking one. I'm going to kind of cover both of them here. Dialga and Palkia both have like weird now horse aesthetic. I think the idea was supposed to be that they were more modelled in the design of Arceus. But neither of them look very good, and somehow they both look worse in their original forms. I've not really got anything good to say about either of them, except for Palkia's got like a really cool Pokemon card coming up soon. But other than that, they both kind of look not great. They're not the worst designs in the world, but like, they're not good. I'm popping them both into C tier. And I don't really need to do too much on the explanations here. Both of these are D tier. They added a fourth elemental genie, Tornadus, Landorus, and Thundurus to the original three. They had Therian forms as well, which are like land forms, so they became animals, which is kind of cool. They added a new one to Arceus, and I can't remember the name of it, so give me 2 seconds, I apologize. The new one's called Enamorous, and it just looks horrible. As someone who has a weird aversion about like lips and lipstick and stuff like that, they leaned way too much in that aesthetic. It's an ugly Pokemon to begin with. The turtle form doesn't make it any better. It's almost like they said, you know what, a lot of people don't like the way Jinx looks, let's make that one of the forces of nature. Like, it's such an ugly Pokemon. I can't describe how much I hate this Pokemon. It's just like, honestly gross. Like, I look at it and go, I'm visually offended, and I'm upset you are actually coming out as a Pokemon card. That is a Hisuian Forms tier list on Tier Maker. Thank you very much to Tier Maker and at Silver_Fox109 for making these lists. Let's go through, shall we? D tier, we have Enamorous, both forms. C tier, we have Typhlosion, Decidueye, Overquill, Sneasel, the male version of Basculegion, Bravery, Dialga, and Palkia. B tier is Samurott, Arcanine, Electrode, Quillfish, Sneasel, Ursaluna, Basculegion, Zoroark, Avalugg, and Sligoo. A tier is Growlithe, Voltorb, Widear, ludigan, and Zorora. And S tier is Gudra. Yeah, I had a good time making this list. It was unfortunate, really, because I do enjoy a lot of the forms. And don't get me wrong, I don't particularly hate any of these except for Enamorous, who's just viciously hideous. But every time I play a new game, I think more and more that like regional forms is definitely the way forward for Pokemon. I think I will go back and rank off the previous ones from Galar and Alola as well at some point. But yeah, that's definitely how I feel. I could maybe do a little bit of shifting, but we'd be here all day. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this tier list / tier maker video. If you did, link for it will be in the description below. All my social media links are in the description below. And I'll be back with another one of these soon. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. See ya!